Welcome to the Richard Lloyd USA YouTube channel. I'm Richard Lloyd. Today I'm going to be doing another old router video. This old router, I'm going to call this series. This is a WNR2000 version 3 Netgear router, and it's currently in what would be called a bricked state or non-functional state. And you can tell that by the blinking green light of malfunction. So this router is currently non-functional, and I'm going to show you in this video how to get it back to fully working with the stock firmware installed. Now, how would this happen? Well, maybe, something happened to the router, lightning strike, something like that. Or you were installing a firmware file. Maybe you did the wrong version. This is a version 3. Maybe you put a version 5 in there or 1, or the wrong version altogether. And then you've got this result of it not working. Another reason for this video, or to do the procedure in this video, is to revert it back to the earliest version of the firmware so you can go forward to something else. Because Netgear generally doesn't allow you to, flash it to a lower firmware value. It's always a bigger or a better one, right? So, and maybe you're playing with DD-WRT third-party firmware for this router, or OpenWRT. There's a bunch, and you want to revert it back to its original state, right? So that'll do that as well. So it's not just for a bricked router; it's for a router running a firmware you don't want anymore, and you want to revert it back to its stock OEM state, original manufacturer state. And this procedure will do that as well. And it will also allow you to downgrade the router firmware if that's what you want to do as well, because you're flashing basically whatever firmware you want into this router using this procedure. Now, understand, it has to be stock firmware. You can try third party, but I wouldn't gamble, right? Anyway, just use this procedure to recover it, to revert it, or to downgrade the stock firmware. So let's get going with it. As you can see, it's obviously non-functional. Let's go get some tools. We'll need a couple tools to do this, and software tools. They're pretty safe from what I can tell. Open it up, your browser, and then type into the browser address. Just type in NMRP Flash. That's the tool that actually does the job. And then you'll get this, listing from, from Google, really. And we want to go to the GitHub. So it's this address right here. Click on that. We're on release 28 at this point. It's been around for a while. Yeah, by the way, this router is made in 2012. Okay, that's how old this router is, but it still has some useful functions to it. And I'm going to show you how to use this router safely and securely in a future video. And that's another caveat. Do not use the stock firmware on this router on any live environment or any internet connected environment, because it's even the latest version of the stock firmware is 8 years old. So that means it's more likely vulnerable to some sort of attack, and basically it's an unsafe router to use with the stock firmware. So again, it's just to recover it and turn it back into something useful with some third-party firmware, which I will show you in the future how to do. So we're at this web page for NMRP Flash. Scroll down here, you'll see the Netgear Unbrick utility. It is, open source, third-party stuff, but it works amazing, and it's recovered every Netgear router I've ever used it on. So it's not just for this one. It works on others too. So here, we're going to go get the Windows version. So right-click the Here button right here. Okay. And I'm going to open a new tab, and I'll show you why I'm doing it that way as opposed to just clicking the link itself. Okay, so there we go. And we'll go to the other tab, and you'll see a Windows Win32 zip file. That's what we want. There's one for Mac OS and one for Linux, but this one, I'm using Windows, so we're going to go get that. And I'm assuming you are too. You can use the other stuff if you wish to. Now I'm going to put it in my downloads directory, and here I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call that NMRP Flash. There we go. Yeah, NMRP Flash. And then I'm going to open that up by hitting enter. And I'm going to put that file right in that folder. Now, I would suggest that you follow along exactly like I'm doing on your computer, because there is some, we're going to use command line function in a minute, and you know, pass, and you'll see why you want to use the same commands as I do, or put everything in the same place as I did. So we've got the NMRP Flash utility. Now we need something called NPCAP, and as it says here, is required on Windows. So and then install with WinCap compatibility enabled. Well, you don't have to. Just right-click this. I'm just going to right-click this again. Open this in a new tab, and I'll show you why in a second. So here it is. Click on that tab, and this is what we want here, the 183 installer. That number will change over time as they update it, but we want the Windows NPCAP installer. So we're going to click on that. Again, back into NMRP Flash. That same directory we just created in downloads. There we go. Save it. We've got that one. Now we got to go get the firmware, which is WNR2000, and it's a V3 Netgear. And then just put in firmware if you wish, or just put. Let's just go basic with that search. And there it is. We want to go to the Netgear web page for this router, which is right here. There we go. And you can see it says here, this product is end of service. No additional firmware updates are planned. Well, that means that has been the case since 2017. That's 8 years, okay? So, yeah, don't use this router. Connect it to anything. I actually wouldn't use it with the stock firmware other than to bring it back to a state where you can convert it to something that's, you know, secure and safe. Here we're going to go to downloads. And you see that we have the firmware version, which would be the current version, 8-year-old version right here. Don't use that one. They actually locked that version down, so you can't install third-party firmware, and you can't downgrade it. Well, you may be able to downgrade it, but regardless, we want the previous versions here, and we're going to get the earliest version that's compatible. So click on the down arrow there, scroll down, you'll see there's one here that says accept China. Skip that one. Let's go to this one here, which is actually the initial. And you'll see it here when you click on download. So down arrow, click the download link. And you see what it's called, initial release firmware version. So we're going to put that in NMRP Flash again. There we go. And just hit save. All right. Now, so now we've got all the tools we need to do this. You know, again, we'll set this stuff up. So let's minimize this. Go to that folder. And it's downloads. There we go. NMRP Flash. So we're going to downloads, NMRP Flash. And then we're going to install NPCAP. So double click it. There we go. And hit agree. And just use the default check marks. It works just like that. So do that, install it. And again, zero responsibility for what this may or may not do to your computer, if it works or doesn't work, whatever. I have, you know, this is just strictly educational to show you how I recovered my router. What you do with your router, that's your responsibility, not mine. So like I said, you know, educational only. Enjoy, right? So it's finished installing here. Click next. All right, it says it's installed on my computer. Nothing much happens, right? It's just basically, I think, a utility in the background. Now we've got NMRP Flash and the WNR whatever 2000 initial release firmware. We've got to unzip those. Double click the folder, the zip folder, and then you'll get NMRP Flash. But what we want to do here is just click on extract all after doing that. Just go with the defaults. There we go. Close this window out and go back here. And then we're going to go to the new NMRP folder here, right here. Not the zip file, but the folder that we just created by doing extract all. Double click it. Copy it. There we go. Back to NMRP Flash. And here, we're going to paste it. It's basically keeping everything in a flat directory structure. So next, we're going to do the same thing with the initial firmware. Double click it. Click extract all. go with the defaults, close this window off, and then go back to NMRP Flash. And then we'll have another directory for that folder with the firmware in it. So open that up, open the next folder because it's got 2 folders down. And here we're going to just highlight the image file, hit copy, right? We'll go back to the flat structure that I was talking about. We're going back to NMRP Flash. Here, right click on the white space, hit paste. So now we've got the two tools we need in the same directory, NMRP Flash exe and the image file that will be the firmware that we're putting on the router. So we're done with that. So let's connect the router physically to the computer, and I'll show you how to do that next. You're going to need an Ethernet cable, which I assume you have. I mean, you have to have one connected to it. So use that. Oops, a little too fast. Connect the Ethernet cable to the back of the router on any of the Ethernet ports. That's the orange ports here. And if the sticker's ripped off, it's the black ports. We do not use the internet port for this. Any one of the 1, 2, 3, 4 will do just fine. So choose that. Then on the back of your computer or your laptop or wherever you're connecting to, if you have an Ethernet jack, which is required, you'll have to put it in to the Ethernet port. If you don't have one, I'll put a link in the video description for a USB Ethernet adapter that is super fast, works beautifully well, and then you can just plug that into your USB port on your laptop, and then you have an Ethernet port that you can do it on your laptop as well, or whatever device you have that needs Ethernet port that doesn't have it. Okay, they also come in USB-C and standard USB, right? And like I said, very fast, works great. So we got it all hooked up. Currently mine is not hooked up yet, but I'll do that. I'll plug it in right now. There. And so now that that's the physical setup, we're done with that. Next, what we're going to do is go to the command prompt. So on your search bar over here, just hit CMD, and then you'll see command prompt come up here. And you want to run it as administrator. Okay, so choose run as administrator. Say yes to the question. There you go. Now we're in C, Windows System 32. That's the directory it's in. And if you do a dir, you'll see all this stuff in there. And that's not where we want to be, okay? Where we want to be is in the directory where we put the tools. So the way you find out the path here, just click on the address up here, and it will give you the path. So right click it, copy it, and then go back to CMD and see if it's still scrolling. An insane amount of files. Anyway, here we're going to type in CD space and then right click, and that pastes the path into that. So enter. All right. Now if you type in dir again, so directory, now you can see that we're in the NMRP Flash directory with all our tools right there, which is what we need. So next, we're going to start using the tools. So right click, actually just highlight this file, which is the NMRP program file. Highlight it, right click it, and then right click down here in the black space, and you'll get the file. Hit enter, and you'll get all this information. And there's a reason for it. Number one, I wanted to show you all the switches and options that you have with the program. We're only going to use 2, the timeout and the list network interfaces, because you need to get the information and to get this to work in a very compatible way. So also here you'll see that you get an nmrpflash.exe, basically a example of how this file would be used, okay? And we'll be using that in a minute. First thing we're going to do is, once again, right click in the black space. You'll get NMRP Flash. Then put another space in there, a hyphen, and a capital L. And that's for listing the network interfaces. Okay. So if you see up here in the default or the example string that it says net 0, well, highly unlikely that you'll be on net 0 here. So we got to find out what network we're on. So in order to do that, just hit list the NMRP Flash and list networks like I have listed down here or written down here, and just hit enter. And you see I have three network interfaces, net 13, net 18, and net 31. Well, which one's mine? I don't know, right? So I'm going to go with, well, we're not going to guess. We need to find out exactly which one it is, okay? So the way you do that is go over here, and if you look at my router, it's still blinking green here, and it's still connected. So let's go back to the network interfaces. Here we go. It says network 13. So I would have to say that's probably my router, but real easy way to find out. Yours may not be like this. It may not even have that. It could say, you know, not listed or, you know, unassociated or whatever. Right click it, choose status, go to details. And you see right here the IPv4 address 192.168.1.2. So that's the IP address for the router. Once again, sorry. Let's go through that a little slower. Right click your network interface. And if you want to know which one you use yours, if you have multiple like me, just unplug it. You'll see you get a red X on it. Plug it back into the LAN ports, those orange ports on the back of the router, and it'll go identifying, right? Here, again, right click it, choose status, details, 192.168.1.1 is the IP address on that. It'll be different. I've seen it be 169, 10, all sorts of other numbers, but again, down here, we know that net 13 is that number. So we are on net 13. Well, the router is on net 13. So what we're going to do is start creating our custom command. So we'll here copy it. So highlight it, right click it, paste it. There we go. We're on net 13. Next thing we're going to do is, so just so you know what all this means, I means interface. You can see that up here. Interface, right? And then we're going to put a hyphen in here, and we're going to put a time in here. And you can see there's 2 T's as a hyphen for, as a switch for timeout. We want the lowercase t, so lowercase here. And then we're going to put in a number, 5555. So 5 5s. So that's 5,555. And what that would be is in milliseconds, which is about 60 seconds. That gives you a lot of time to get the router back up to booting and to have the router actually initiate its rescue procedure with this thing waiting for it. Otherwise, it times out and you miss it, right? And you can get it without the time thing, but just put it in there. It will work better for you, and it'll be a lot less hassle. Now, the next thing we need to do is put in a firmware. So we have to tell NMRP Flash what firmware to send to that router. So here we're going to put a hyphen, an F, which is the file for file. If you look at here, it's not firmware, but it's firmware file. So F, it works. And then we got to go get that. So let's open up the tools menu again. What this is, okay, minimize that. And there's our file that we need for the firmware. It's the WNR Netgear firmware. So just right click it, choose rename, then highlight the whole file, and then right click C, or right click and click copy, minimize this out of the way, put this back in here. There we go. And there's the complete command right there, ready to go. So next thing we do is power the router down. And then we run the command like that by hitting enter. And then we power up the router. And then it says waiting for Ethernet connection. So we'll wait for that. There we go. Boom. It starts flashing the router. And you can see right here all the information about it. And look, it's not even on the same IP address. There we go. WNR. And now here, just wait till this all finishes. Do not stop. Do not get out of here. It's not done until it says it's done. So it will tell you when you can reboot your router. Just be a little patient for it. And after we're done, I'll show you the router running here in a sec. All right, there it is. So it says remote finished, closing connection, reboot your device now. Well, let's do that. Now that takes about 1.5 2 minutes. So in the meantime, what we're going to do here, just for your convenience, is open up Notepad. So just type in Notepad. There it is. And let's copy those commands so that you can just basically open up a CMD window and just copy and paste all these commands in and have it happen, right? So first command that we ran is this one, NMRP Flash. This is the actual, the first command we ran was the directory change, right? So let's go do that. So here you see CD, right? And the path to your NMRP Flash file. So highlight it, right-click it, go to Notepad, right-click here, click Paste. Okay, so that's the first command to get you to the right directory where your tools are. And scroll down to the actual command that we ran. You can put all the rest of them in there if you wish, but really you don't need to. All right. So here's the actual command we ran to flash the router. So copy that. So highlight it, right click it again. And in here, click paste. And we're going to save it as text file in NMRP Flash folder. So keep everything in the same place, make it easy. So we'll call it WNR 2000. Version 3, Revert. All right, so there we go. Now that's a text file that you can just open up anytime you want. Open up an administrator command line interface and just copy each one of these commands. This one, pop it in there. This one, pop it in there. Like, okay, so let's just do. Okay, so hit copy, and I'm going to do this CD back to there. Now we're CD / gets you right to the C drive. But here, we copied that first CD command, so let's just paste it in here. There. Now we're in NMRP Flash. If I do a dir, you can see our files in there. And then we've got the second command, which would run the Flash program, which we're not going to do right now. This one here. And basically, you would just copy that in there. Copy it. So right-click in here. There we go. Then hit enter and it'll flash your router. So that makes it really fast and easy. But there's an easier way to do it. Let's do it the easiest way possible. We're going to save this file as, WNR, whatever. And then we're going to change the extension from TXT to BAT. So now it's a batch file. And now you can just double click that file and run it as a program, basically. So let's go to that directory. We should have a batch file right there, right? And, I'll show you that working here in a second. But first, we did reboot the router. Let's see what's going on with it. So let's go to Control-A, 192.168.1.1. Yeah, I know the IP address, but I'll show you how to get that here as well. Back to your network interface, right-click it, choose status, details. So if you ever want to know where your router is, it's the same number as the default gateway, DHCP server, and DNS server, usually. But the default gateway is always your router. So 192.168.1.1 is where the router is currently. And obviously, well, not obviously, but it is working because it's giving us the correct numbers. And I'll prove that here just by hitting enter. And now it's going to ask you to log in. The default username and password for Netgear routers is admin and password. There we go. And if you're going to use stock firmware against my, insistence that you shouldn't, please change that password and username or at least the password anyway, because holy cow, admin and password, you'd be hacked in like 2 minutes. So we've got the router running. You can see it here. Let's go to router status. Here we go. And you can see everything about it. It's running. It's WNR2000 version 3, the firmware version, what we put in. Everything's good, right? So there's the router recovered. We've got it running. So mission accomplished. Your router is now working again, and you can do whatever you wish with it at this point. So I'm going to minimize this. And we did create a batch file, and I haven't shown you that running yet. So let's see how that goes. So here's the batch file in the tools directory. If you want to edit that file, you just right-click it and choose Edit, and it'll open up a notepad, and you can edit all you want and then save it. It'll save as a batch file, and then you can run it after you've modified it if you wish. Now right-click it, choose Run as an Administrator, say yes to the question, say yes, and there it is running. Now all you got to do is power down your router, power up your router, and like I said, like magic, there it is, flashing the router. So that's the batch file actually working. Isn't that nice and easy? Now you got it. It's the same as the other procedure, doing it manually. Everything happens the same way. Of course, you've got to manually get all these commands set up correctly in the first place, and then you can copy them in there and do that and make this happen. Now it's doing the receive keep alive request just like it did when you did it manually. And if you're experimenting with third-party firmware or whatever, you can flash this router over and over and over again anytime you want. Now, this procedure will work for any Netgear router, but not with these commands. They have to be structured for your router. In other words, the firmware file has to be right, and the net number has to be right. But if you follow this procedure on as a guideline on any other Netgear router, and only Netgear routers this works on, you can probably recover it. And I'll do more videos on how to recover these routers as well. And there, it just went away on its own. So let's just minimize that. This is what we had already running. And so when it goes away, just reboot the router, right? And wait for it to reboot. It should be flashed and ready to go. Part of the reason I made this video also was to preempt or basically get ready for what I'm going to do, which is show you how to use third-party firmware on this router, how to install it, and how to, at that point, how to do something with it, use it as just a router. Or, and another video I'll do is after I show you how to install it and configure it and get it running, I'm going to show you how to use that same third-party firmware on this router to turn it into a Wi-Fi extender with the ability to connect to your network through Wi-Fi, and then share your Wi-Fi at a more remote location to further extend your Wi-Fi range, number one. Number two, it will also give you the ability to plug 5 devices that are Ethernet, non-Wi-Fi, into the back of the router, and that will connect all those 5 devices to the router. So that's pretty cool, right? So you don't need to throw this away. It still has some function to it. You can use it for various tasks. Yes, it's not very fast, but sometimes you don't need very fast. You just need working, and this will do it, right? So I'll show in the future videos. I'll show you how to do that stuff, and that's part of the reason I made this video, so that I can tell people when I'm doing those videos, if you want to know how to make this back to stock, just watch this video and you can return it to stock back to the way it came out of the box. So at this point, yeah, it's booted up. And once again, we should be able to see that. Let's go through the basic settings. So yeah, it's going to ask me again to log in, admin, password. There we go. And here you can set it up if you wish to. Wireless settings, whatever you want to do here, right? Basics, status is down here, right? And router upgrade, if you want to take it to the latest version of the firmware, now you can, because you can always take it out. Or this is where you would install your third-party firmware as well. Okay, so that's how you rescue this lovely WRN2000 version 3 Netgear router. And like I said, you can use this as a guide for other Netgear routers as well. That's it for my video. I'll put links for stuff in the video description, maybe even the commands and stuff in there as well. Of course, they only apply to my computer. That's what this whole video is about, is to get you to do this on your computer and make it work. So, this is beautiful. I've actually not had a single Netgear router not be recovered by this procedure yet. It just seems to always work. So, got lots of videos on fixing routers as well. Again, video description, all the links and stuff, affiliate links and stuff that for things that you could use, like the router or whatever, or the Ethernet adapter, the USB Ethernet adapter as well. Those help me out, but they, by using those, you help me out, and they don't cost any more than what it would be to go straight to Amazon, eBay, or whatever, and buy it directly for yourself. So do me a favor, if you're going to buy that, go through the links in the video description as well. You'll get the same hardware that I use, which I know works great. And on that USB Ethernet adapter, yeah, that's a big deal. The wrong one will not work as well as this one. This one's the best one I found for Linux and Windows and everything else. So yeah, and then also comments in the comment section below, questions, video suggestions, stuff like that, or anything you want to say to me, just put it in the comments below. I appreciate those. I read them all the time. And sometimes I answer the questions with videos, which helps me out, helps you out, because sometimes the answer to the question is far too complex to type in. It's just much easier to make a video and show you how to do it than actually tell you in a text. So, I appreciate those. I love those. I love new video ideas, and I use them all the time. Also, suggestions for videos. If you got something that you think might be good, put it in there. I'll consider it. And if I think it's good, I'll put it up as a video as well. So again, greatly appreciate that. And anything else you want to say to me, just put it in the comments section. I'll get it. And I do go in there regularly to see what's going on. And I appreciate all the accolades from all over the world, and love you all for watching my stuff and supporting me here. So once again, and like always, take care of yourself. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that a lot. Hit the subscribe button and then the bell icon while you're doing that to be notified every time I put up a new video if you like my channel. And other than that, give all my videos a big thumbs up. That helps me here on YouTube, and I again really appreciate it. Again, take care of yourself. We'll see you in the next video.